Welcome to our Tuesday night community call. And this first half an hour is all about our products, our program, and everything in that regard. So, tonight we have a very special guest. And I was actually talking to her about last week, and there was no way we could get her on last week. But this week she's managed to get her kids all settled in the lounge room and escape into another room. She's on her own. She doesn't have her gorgeous Paulie at home at the moment. So, Sarah, I can't say how much I appreciate you doing this and jumping in and talking on our call tonight. So, I really just wanted you to start, and I'm the queen of asking questions. So don't think it'll finish when you say what you say, but I'd love you to start with what life was like before Isogenics and your story, please. And by the way, Sarah is a mum of five. She's an absolute superhuman mother and woman, and we all adore her. So over to you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you guys, and thank you, Heather, for
Oh, shit.
unmute. There we
Yeah.
go. I'm muted. Nice to see you all. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you for having me on your call tonight. It's nice to be here with you all. So, a little bit of my story. So, prior to Isogenics, I was a personal trainer in the wellness space. So, initially, I started out in the commercial gym space, and then I finished my career as a personal trainer working for both Johnson and Johnson and Woolworths, most recently. So, I was with Woolies for 12 years as their personal trainer, training their executives in their head office down in Sydney, which was loads and loads of fun. I had a brilliant career as a personal trainer. I met some amazing people. And I, back in 2011, decided that we would start a family. My husband is a tactical police officer and works incredibly unpredictable shift work, and chronically long hours at times. So after the birth of our second child, Olive, both of us actually found ourselves in a bit of a rut. So unlike many of the people that I've had the pleasure in coaching over the years with Isogenics, I was a little different, I guess. I didn't start with a weight loss goal, and I was also someone that quite naturally did the right things in the sense that, I exercised religiously, I ate really well, but I was probably more up Jen Jeffries' alley in the sense that I was a burnt out mess. So I was chronically stressed. My adrenal system was shot to pieces. And while I didn't have a big weight loss goal at all, I had a huge wellness goal. So my turning point for me was just after the birth of Olive, and like most babies do, they can test your patience. And she threw her porridge off the high chair. Like, if you can imagine, with five kids, this is something that happens. These sort of things happen to me on the daily. But this particular day, I absolutely clicked it and I lost it at her. I screamed at her. She was a little baby and she burst out crying. And it was one of those pivotal moments. And I'm sure that maybe you guys have one too in your journey where you just realized at that point that something needed to change. Uh, it was one of those moments too that I've actually never forgotten. It's like sort of etched in my memory, And while Olive has no recollection, I certainly do. And it was my reason for wanting to change. Paulie was also spending a lot of time on the lounge, relaxing on his downtime, on his days off. We were doing a lot of days in our trackies, if you can imagine it. And I had lost all inspiration to get up, get into life, all that sort of stuff. So I was doing the do. I was what I call high functioning, but I was cranky. My sleep was crap. My bowels were like I was having regular colonic irrigations. They were terrible. So my gut health was in the toilet. And I was just a mess. I would flake out on the couch every night exhausted. So thankfully, my best friend, actually, Meza, I talk about her often, but she rang me one day, and you know what? I hadn't even seen her, but there was an energy in her voice. I remember exactly what road I was driving on. I was in the car and we had a conversation, and I said, Meza, something is different about you. What have you been doing? And she said, Sarah, I've lost 7 kilos. I feel friggin' amazing, but I didn't want to tell you because I thought as a personal trainer you wouldn't agree with it. And I thought you'd just boohoo it. So I did it on the sly. And I said, well, you know what, Mez? I said, I am all ears. Tell me more. So she filled me in a little bit about it. And I had I had a friend who was also a personal trainer. We worked together, and just having a squizzy at her social media, I thought she might have been somehow aligned with isogenics. I had never heard of isogenics myself. So I reached out to her. I pity my best friend didn't tell me that she could enroll me. However, I reached out to my friend Michelle and I said, are you partnered or aligned with Isogenics? And she's like, yeah, I am. I love it. And I was like, okay, can you send me a box? And I'm going to make my hubby do it and my mom. So the three of us all did it. Being my personality type, I'm like a bull at a gate. So I followed the system to the letter, to the letter. And as too did Paulie. And we had an amazing result. Amazing. Paulie lost 10 kilos. I lost 5. I felt like it was like someone switched a light inside me. It's totally hard to explain, but it was well, not for you guys because you understand the products, but it was life changing. I all of a sudden took my trackies off. I decided to rip out that makeup, get my nice clothes on, and I just stepped back into life. I was calmer, happier, well rested. My training went to a new level. I was no longer sore and inflamed and taking Voltaren daily to get through my training sessions. Like I was bad. So this was just exactly what I needed. And being a busy mum, I also too found the simplicity of the system was exactly what I needed because I was honest with myself in the beginning and I knew that I was an overwhelmed mess. So the idea of more meal prepping and spending hours in my kitchen was not something that appealed to me. But I didn't understand all the what I didn't understand was the importance of looking after my adrenal system. I didn't understand the importance of looking after my gut health because as personal trainers, we're not taught that. We're taught calorie counting and macros, and that's it. So this system opened my eyes up to what nutrition or what thriving really means and how our health and well-being is so multifaceted. So I decided with Paulie we'd do another 30 days together because we had a great result and then that would be it. And here we are 11 years later. So we kept going and I've had more babies and continue to thrive. I'm 44 almost and I have 5 little still pretty little children and it's been an absolute blessing. An absolute blessing. Something I am eternally grateful for. Is that okay?
Oh, I love it. I could sit here and listen to you forever. You just explain it so eloquently and so beautifully, but also so authentically and in such a raw and real way. Thank you so much. I want to dig into a bit of, the family. So when you first started with isogenics, there was 3, yeah? And now there's 5.
There was 2.
Oh, 2. Oh,
Two.
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
I can.
how did that transformation happened, and then how did you use ISO, and what difference did it make to your pregnancies through that time?
So unfortunately for me, I had really crappy pregnancies in terms of I had hyperemesis with all 5. So often hospitalized, vomiting for the entire 40 weeks. However, my pregnancies 3, 4, and 5 were vastly different, not from a vomiting perspective, but from a well-being perspective. So I continued to vomit for 40 weeks, day and night. However, I trained like a boss. I felt so fantastic. And I guess my whole, um, the way I viewed my pregnancy and leading into each pregnancy, because each one of our children were planned, very much so. But I decided that if I was going to vomit regardless, so I might as well or may as well fuel my body with the most beautiful, clean nutrition I possibly can to grow a beautiful human in a really beautiful uterus. Like, I just feel like so much of our focus is on post-pregnancy and losing the baby weight. But hang on a second. What if we take it back 10 months and we not only create a beautiful, clean space for a human to thrive and grow and develop, but what if we can nurture ourselves through pregnancy so that our pregnancy weight is somewhat at a good level, right? Because whatever goes on, typically you want to come off, right? So if you can have a healthy baby weight gain, that's really important. Something that I'm very passionate about is 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 helping women to understand that you don't need to eat for two. You just need to eat really nourishing foods. And typically for the last trimester in pregnancy, you really only need an extra 100 to 200 calories per day. That's nothing, right? So you're growing a human, but if I just find it very, very, very powerful if you can look after yourself through your pregnancy. I wasn't someone that coped so well with the changes in my body. I didn't particularly feel like I was glowing, right? But I was very anal with what went in my body throughout my pregnancy so that I could feel good and also postnatally feel like cope really well with the demands of newborn life. So it
Wow.
is something I'm very passionate about. And I feel I often want to articulate that to women, like is to go into your pregnancy in the best shape and the best health and wellness like you possibly can, because you are going to thrive through your pregnancy and beyond.
Wow, that's great. I've never heard it spoken about in that way, and yeah, I totally agree. The way you describe it is beautiful. And did you bounce back after your pregnancies each time the same, or did it get better, or
I think I think 100% it was vastly better. Um, Post three, four, and five. And remember too, like I had my first baby at 30 and I had my last baby at 40. So, I was a fair bit older. So carrying the baby a little bit older, and I was classified as a geriatric pregnancy at that age. Yeah, you are. And I also had four little other ones to run after and drive around and all that sort of jazz. So it was the day to day that can take its toll. I didn't have time to nap and put my feet up and things like that. You just had to get on with life. But my recovery was, yes, amazing. I was back in the gym 6 days after the birth of three, four, and five, which is, something I don't always recommend. But like I said, bullet a gate, right? So, but I felt phenomenal. And everything, I have no physical issues, like no incontinence, no nothing. And I believe wholeheartedly that that has a lot to do with good quality protein throughout your pregnancy, postnatally. And through my last pregnancy, we released the collagen. And so I was heavily into that, heavily into to the collagen, and I'm taking the shakes throughout my pregnancy, of course.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so good. And so I have a funny question now because we'll flick to Paulie for a minute because I know he's become a huge advocate. And I think Belle might even have a photo she might share in a minute, but we'll see. But you were telling me about what he has in his shake. Because remember,
Yeah.
this guy is huge as far as the exercise and the job he's doing, and he needs a lot of fueling. But you have to have everything ready, don't you, when he gets home for a shake? Tell us a bit about Polish.
Paulie is the most easygoing person on the planet that I know. Like, go any slower, he'd go backwards, right? Like, he's just one chilled guy. But there's one, and he has zero expectation of me, like none, right? If he comes home and the house is on its head, he's like, "How's your day, Dad?" Like, he just does not care. However, what he really loves and appreciates so much is if I have all his things that go into his shake for when he gets home. Because we both have shake at night. Typically, it works for our family. We got kids coming and going, all that sort of jazz. Paulie doesn't get home till 9 o'clock most nights. So he has an array of things in his shake. Clusters, dark chocolate, chopped up isoline bars, granola, like you name it, peanut butter, PB2, like, oh my God, it's like his $4.50 shake really is about $50, honestly. It's hideous. But his it's just works for us so well. Like from a family unit point of view, like it is the simplicity that we both need. And thankfully, very thankfully, like I said, Paulie has no expectations, but he just loves it if I have all his goodies that he can pop into his shake when he gets home.
Oh, I love it. I love that. Oh, we have a little person coming to say hello. Hello, mate.
This is Louis.
Hey, Louie.
This is our youngest one, Louis. Last week on that boot camp call, he shot me in the back of the head with a Nerf gun, didn't you, Louis?
Well, we're very chilled on this call, so we're very happy to meet Louie. It's absolutely cool. Actually, that was going to be my next question. Kids shakes, what do they have? Because I know you go through a lot of shakes, your family.
So we go through at least 10 canisters a month, at least. And all of my kids have the shakes in some form, whether they have it in porridge in the morning or they have it as a shake or I make cakes out of it in a bowl. Um, Archer, my eldest, has just dived into pinching my e-shots a little bit before his basketball games, and he may or may not love a bit of a scuba nitro too. But Louis has a bar every morning, especially on preschool mornings, don't you, Louis? He loves our isoline bars, and it's just a win because he's not much of a brekkie eater, but he loves a cake, a shake, or a bar. But on preschool mornings we have a bar because we're in the car and out the door. So it's so great. The hydrate sticks, they love those, because like most kids, they love a sweet drink, whether it be cordial, but this is a much better option, I find. So they love a bit of hydrate, the bars, the shakes, the whey thins, they love those as well. And I'm really confident in the products, I guess, that I would much prefer them to have a packet of whey thins than a packet of chips. Does it cost me a fortune every month? Yeah. But Paulie and I have often said, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it costs every month, as long as they're getting some good stuff in for brekkie. I would much rather them have a shake than have a bowl of cornflakes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 100%. Okay. Jen, have you got anything you want to ask Sarah or any comments? Just
No, I was just thinking if I had to think of a textbook family scenario for busy family, kids, parents, the whole thing,
Yeah.
the nutrition, I agree. You can't set them up, the kids or yourselves, better. I
Yeah.
textbook, like you get all my ticks checked. Like I'm stoked. But you
It
set those kids
even
up for
to
life.
like I'm not a sanger person myself,
Yeah.
and I don't really like bread. But what I've found even works for the mums on here that maybe their kids don't like sangers either, that I just make a cake out of the shake. I let it cool down, wrap it up in some foil, put it in a container, and stick it in their lunchbox the night
How do
before.
you make the cake?
So
What do
you
you do?
just get your 2 scoops of shake, add
Yep.
some water so it sort of
Yep.
goes to like cake
Yeah.
batter. Zap
Yep.
it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, not long. And then if I was at home, I'd drizzle nut butter on it, put some
Yeah.
berries on it or some yogurt, something like that. But for school, I just wrap it up in some foil, put it in a container, and then I cut it up into like pizza slices, and they have that for lunch instead of a sandwich.
Oh my God. So much more nutritious. That's
Yeah,
like,
and it's just as easy as making a sandwich, you know?
yeah, and way better.
I used to get bored of sandwiches when I was a kid, so
Oh,
yeah, I would much
yeah.
rather have that.
Very cool. No, I think you're bloody awesome. I really do. I knew you were a cool chick anyway, but with my naturopath hat on, you're bloody awesome. You're setting those kids up so well.
Yeah, it's so
And how
good.
cool, like because you're buying a fair bit of gear. However, you
Yeah,
helping other people feel as good as you means you help to get, some or most of your products paid for.
yeah, I
That's not
know.
going to happen if people
It,
go to me as a naturopath clinic.
yeah, it's such a win, and to know that my kids are getting good stuff really does make me happy. And to be honest, they have all 5 of them, especially the last 3, have rocking immune systems, like wicked immune systems. Very rarely are they sick or anything like that. And I think it does play a big part
Yeah.
in that sort of stuff, in how they feel day to day. Never have days off school, like ever. They'd have to be.
Oh no, that's just sad for them.
Louis would love it. Actually, Louis had 3 days off preschool last week. Tell everyone why. We had knits.
Yeah, isogenics will not prevent nits. Sorry.
No.
It's good, but it's not that good. You're awesome, Sarah. That's good. I got no other questions. I think, maybe it's time to go and play with the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will just say one thing too. One last thing is for any mums that are breastfeeding, like I breastfed actually, to be totally real, and Heather knows the breast pump comes a long way with me. I've only just stopped feeding Louis, actually. I've been breastfeeding for 13 years straight, right? I just stopped. And again, I think it's so good to have that nourishment on hand when you're feeding a little human as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah. You go to those kids. We really appreciate you. And Louis, thank you, mate. Go take your mum and go and find your brothers and sisters.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.